There is a gardening method that improves every single year. Not slowly, not marginally, but dramatically. It requires no tilling, no bags of fertilizer, no expensive soil deliveries, and after it begins, it asks less and less from you while producing more and more. Most gardens start fertile and decline over time. This one does the opposite. It begins as scraps, waste, leaves, cardboard, kitchen leftovers, and turns into some of the richest soil you will ever see. For centuries, variations of this system were used by farmers who could not afford to fail. Then, like many self-sustaining methods, it quietly disappeared. Not because it stopped working, but because it worked too well. Today, most gardeners are told the same story. Buy soil, add fertilizer, till every year, repeat forever. But what if soil didn't need to be purchased? What if fertility could be built once and then deepen on its own for decades? There is a method known by many names: sheet mulching, layered soil, lasagna gardening, living beds. Whatever you call it, the principle is the same. You don't dig into the soil, you build soil on top of it, and then you let nature finish the work. Long before garden centers sold bags of fertilizer, farmers understood something simple. Healthy soil is not created by turning the earth, it is created by feeding it. For most of human history, fertility was not something you bought, it was something you observed, something you protected, something you built slowly, season after season. In forests, no one tills the ground, no one spreads synthetic nutrients, no one replaces the soil each spring. And yet, year after year, the ground becomes deeper, darker, and more resilient. Leaves fall in autumn and form a protective blanket, branches break, soften, and begin to return to the earth. Rain carries nutrients downward, microbes multiply. Earthworms pull organic matter into the soil below. Fungi stretch through the ground in vast underground networks, linking roots, transporting moisture, and redistributing nutrients in ways we are only beginning to understand. Nothing is wasted. Everything is recycled. Everything becomes soil. Early farmers noticed this pattern long before it was explained by science. They saw that land left undisturbed beneath layers of organic matter grew richer, not poorer. They observed that fields bordering forests often produced better harvests, and slowly, across different regions and generations, they began to imitate what nature was already doing. Instead of digging deeper into the earth each year, they began building upward. They stacked crop residues, leaves, straw, manure, and household scraps. They covered these layers and allowed time, moisture, and biology to do what tools could not. This natural layering system became the model. Across Europe and later in North America, growers began replicating the forest floor inside their gardens. They discovered that when organic material was allowed to accumulate and decompose undisturbed, the soil transformed. It became looser, more absorbent, easier to plant, richer in nutrients, more alive. And once these beds were established, something unusual happened. They did not decline with use. They did not require constant rebuilding. They did not lose fertility after a few seasons. They improved. Each year, the soil grew more structured, more biologically active, more capable of supporting life without intervention. What began as layers of waste became a system of renewal, a way to grow food in soil that did not wear out, but matured. And for a long time, this knowledge moved quietly from grower to grower, not as a product, but as a practice. To understand why this method works so well, you first have to understand how soil actually forms. Real soil is not just dirt. It is not an inert medium that holds roots in place. It is structure, biology, fungal networks, air pockets, moisture reservoirs, a living system in constant transformation. In nature, soil forms slowly as layers of organic material accumulate and break down. Each fallen leaf, each blade of grass, each decaying stem becomes part of a long process that converts waste into fertility. When you intentionally layer organic materials, cardboard, leaves, compost, grass clippings, plant trimmings, you are recreating that process in a concentrated form. You are accelerating what forests do naturally over years and compressing it into a manageable garden system. Cardboard acts as the initial barrier. It blocks light, suppresses existing weeds, and begins softening as moisture penetrates it. Beneath and above that layer, microbial life begins to multiply. Nitrogen-rich materials like green clippings, kitchen scraps, and manure feed bacteria and fungi in the early stages of decomposition. Carbon-rich materials like leaves, straw, and shredded branches provide long-term structure, preventing the soil from collapsing into dense, compacted ground. As decomposition begins, fungi move in first. Fungi are the primary engineers of fertile soil. Unlike bacteria, which work quickly and then fade, fungal networks extend through the soil for long periods, breaking down complex plant matter into forms plants can use gradually. They digest cellulose and lignin, the toughest components of plant material, and transform them into stable organic compounds. As they grow, they form vast underground networks, mycelial threads that connect roots, transport nutrients, and even redistribute moisture between plants. These networks create pathways through the soil, improving aeration and allowing water to move more efficiently downward instead of running off the surface. Research in soil ecology consistently shows that fungal-dominant soils retain more moisture, store more nutrients, and resist compaction better than soils that are regularly tilled or left exposed. When soil is disturbed less, its internal structure becomes more stable. Microbial communities establish themselves. Organic matter accumulates instead of being oxidized and lost. As the layered materials continue to break down, air pockets form naturally as organic matter collapses and settles. Worms move upward through the softening layers, pulling decomposing material deeper into the soil and leaving behind nutrient-rich castings. Water infiltrates more easily, soaking into the sponge-like structure rather than pooling or evaporating. Nutrients are released slowly and consistently rather than all at once. This steady release is what makes the system so resilient. Instead of dumping fertilizer once a season and watching its effects fade, the soil becomes a continuous source of nourishment. Microbes cycle nutrients in real time. Roots encounter fertility wherever they grow. And unlike synthetic fertilizers, which deliver a quick surge and then disappear, this system does not burn out. It does not need to be reset each year. It does not exhaust itself. It builds. One of the most overlooked benefits of layered soil systems is water retention. Organic matter acts like a sponge. A study from the Rodale Institute found that soils rich in organic matter can hold significantly more water than conventional garden plots. In practice, this means less watering, more drought resistance, more consistent plant growth. As the layers break down, they create a structure that absorbs rain and holds it where roots can reach it. During dry periods, plants continue to access stored moisture underground. In an era of water restrictions and rising costs, this alone changes everything.
Gardeners who adopt this method often notice something surprising. The first year is good, the second year is better, the third year is exceptional. Why? Because the soil is not being depleted, it is being built. Each season, roots grow deeper, fungal networks expand, organic matter accumulates. Instead of fighting compaction and nutrient loss, the system moves in the opposite direction. Yields increase with time, not decrease. Heavy feeders like squash, tomatoes, and corn thrive in these beds. Leafy greens grow faster, weeds become easier to manage, and the soil becomes darker and more crumbly every year. If this works so well, why isn't everyone doing it? Why are garden centers filled with bags of soil, fertilizer, and tillers? Because this method requires very little purchasing. The materials are everywhere. Cardboard from deliveries, leaves from autumn, grass clippings, kitchen scraps, compost, things most people throw away. A garden built from waste does not generate ongoing sales. It does not require annual soil replacement. It does not demand constant fertilizer input. Once established, it becomes largely self-sustaining, and systems that reduce dependency rarely become mainstream products. Building a living soil bed is simple, though it does take initial effort. Start by laying cardboard directly on the ground. This suppresses existing weeds and begins decomposition. On top of that, layer leaves, grass clippings, compost, kitchen scraps, straw, any organic matter available. Alternate carbon-rich and nitrogen-rich layers. Then cover everything with a few inches of soil or finished compost. Water it thoroughly at the beginning to activate microbial life. Within weeks, decomposition begins. Within months, the layers settle. Within a year, you are planting into soil that did not exist before. Each season, add more organic matter to the top. Let it break down naturally. No digging required. There are honest limitations. The first year may require patience. The layers will settle. Some nitrogen supplementation can help early on, and sourcing enough organic material takes effort. But these are front-loaded costs. Once the system stabilizes, maintenance drops dramatically. And unlike conventional gardens, the soil improves instead of declining.
Soil does not need to be bought in bags. Fertility does not need to be reapplied every season. And gardens do not have to start over each year. There is a system that builds itself, feeds itself, improves itself, quietly, slowly, relentlessly. It has existed for centuries. It still works today, and it is available to anyone willing to see waste as the beginning of abundance. The richest soil you will ever grow may be the soil you never dig. It may be the soil you simply build and then allow to live. Subscribe to Forbidden Harvest. There is more like this.